Where am I? There we go. Good evening. It is 8 o'clock on Wednesday night. It is, what is this, the 25th of October. And welcome to another live time. I'm just going to call these live times. My name is Sam Santalone, and excited to have you guys this evening. I thought that the market right now is very interesting. And I've been talking to some people about it. I've got some thoughts, and I'm curious to hear any questions you've got as well. But I think this is a time where I feel like we are right in the swing of the fall, and a lot of questions people are having with what to do about if buying a house is a good idea right now. Renting is a better idea if you're moving here for the first time, or maybe you're planning to, like, you've got to come for a job. You're getting stationed here military wise, or maybe you're coming here for maybe being close to family just out of choice, not out of, a requirement for your job. These are things that I'm kind of tossing around in my head, and I've been for a while as to what to suggest to people if they are coming here, whether by choice or by force, I guess, if a better lack of a better term. And so I want to go through some data that's in for October and this past month or so data to talk to you about, what I'm seeing currently in the market. And again, if you see if any questions, you have anything to comment about, feel free to put it in the comments. But I'm going through some stuff that I think is going to help possibly tell a story as to kind of where we are right now cyclically, and also potentially maybe what to do about maybe what the market at large is telling us, and maybe kind of give us some indications as to what to do in the near future. So again, if you're moving here and it's going to be for a short time, for a long time, these types of questions I want to help answer for you as to decide, like, should you buy or rent, and where, also. So if you have any questions, also, where are you from? I'd love to hear any comments about where you're watching from. Are you planning to move here? Are you not? Are you just coming to enjoy the evening with me, which I am all about that too. So any of that stuff, any feedback, I would appreciate. And again, if you have any questions in general, it doesn't have to be about the real estate area here, like the neighborhoods here, but please ask as well, because I'd love to talk about neighborhoods. We'll go into some of that as well, as anybody has questions too. But so I want to start though by going over some general information about where we are market wise. And so we're at the end of October, and the last several months have been, we're kind of ending the tail end of what was an extremely competitive last 2 to 3 years. And so that competition is almost like a residual feeling of, like, how it feels like, is that still happening? And the answer is kind of, but not really even close to what it used to be. And I think people realizing we're coming out of that type of market. Some people had that residual feeling of maybe it's still there. Some are thinking, okay, it's over. Now the market is flipped. And if you're buying a house or moving here, and I'm speaking more so for this specific area, Virginia Beach through Williamsburg, but it could be anywhere, maybe. It depends on your local market. But my point here is that, some people think, is it still happening? And this residual feeling. Some people look at this and say, okay, it's flipped. It's time. It's a buyer's market right now. So I can go into and get whatever house I want cheaper. And I'm kind of saying neither. Courthouse Estates. Hey, Barbara. Yeah, Courthouse Estates. I'm very familiar with Courthouse Estates. If you can't see that, very cool. But what was I saying? Oh, so I don't think it's either. I don't think we're necessarily in a buyer's market, though I'm seeing a lot of houses that are sitting for longer than used to be. At the same time, I don't think it's a super competitive one either compared to what we were used to seeing. You'll see some houses like in Virginia Beach that are going to be sitting for 2, 3, 4 weeks. You'll see some that sit for longer than that. You'll see some that will sell and still in a day or two. If they hit the market, they'll still go off the market. Back in the peak of the last 2, 3 years, if there were 100 houses on the market in Virginia Beach between, let's just say, 4 and 500,000, there were probably about 60 to 70% of those were under contract. Now we're talking probably closer to 30% or so. So it's cut in half, but if your house is in demand, it's still going to sell pretty quickly. And so if you're buying a house, you still have to kind of approach it like that. If it's one of those that checks a lot of boxes, good chance that it's going to be in demand, or at least, multiple offers is not going to be surprising. So that's one side. However, there are some new variables that are not just, it's not just current, but it's kind of real time. These things are happening. I want to show you some screens to give you some ideas as to what I mean when it comes to the current real estate market, or the current pricing and rates. So I'm going to show you the current market now. This is, you can see this is the 30-year fixed. It's basically kind of a moving average for real estate for pricing nationally. This is nationally because that's how they price. Now you look at, you see this big drop, big drop, big drop. As we get into 2023, 2022, 23, boom, we're in the sixes and the sevens. And now we're starting to creep up into the mid sevens. This to me seems low. And of course, this is basing it off of the last week, 29 or 1019. But reality to me is, I'm talking to people, usually we're looking at around 8% and 8.125, 8.25. I haven't heard of somebody right now that's going to be paying up in close to 9%. Now, a lot of this is credit based. It's not like if you go in and get a mortgage, it's going to be 9%, but I'm seeing it get to that point. And, you talk to experts, you watch YouTube videos, you listen to people like in the know, if they say they're in the know, finance guys, economists, all that are suggesting certain things. They say, oh, I can, expect interest rates to drop in the next, 3 to 4 months. Well, that was 3 or 4 months ago. We haven't dropped, we've gone up. Some will say, well, no, it's going to be 6 months. It's going to be 9 months. Well, it hasn't dropped, right? So it's still going up a little bit. I don't know what's going to happen next. And I think that's a very important thing to say, is I don't know what's going to happen next. And I think anyone that says that they know is being overly ambitious in their words. I don't think it's accurate to make that kind of a guess, because really, I don't think any person knows. But you can start seeing trends, and history can tell you some stories, right? So, oh, hey, Barbara. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Been watching you for a couple of years since I decided to move here after retirement. What a huge change there's been since 2019. Wow. Yeah, you're right. It's awesome. Thanks for watching, Barbara. I really appreciate it. I hope you like it in Courthouse Estates. How's the jet noise? People look for jet noise. I'm sorry. People look for jet noise. People look for a neighborhood like in Courthouse Estates is a good example. 500s price range. What do you think about Courthouse Estates? Do you hear a lot of jets? What is your thought on that as a person moving here from another part of the country? What do you think? How loud is it? Have you gotten used to it? That kind of thing. I'd love to hear your comments on that. But let me go back to the interest rate thing. 8 to 9 is not crazy anymore. It's kind of the standard. That is looking. I have another screen here to show you. Going over to this second one. Where is it? Where is it? I guess I can just switch over, can't I? I can share. You guys are just laughing because I am. There we go. There it is. There. Ooh, nope. There it is. Here's a mortgage breakdown for a house at 350. I'm actually going to make this 500 because I was going to use that for round numbers, and that's kind of a typical, it's a little bit more expensive, but a house price, it's not too crazy. And you look, you see the prices here. This is about 350. I'm sorry, no, 425, 140-ish, 150 probably. Your mortgage payment for a $500,000 house with 5% down at an 8.125% interest rate, generally speaking, this is not an exact, depends on PMI, a lot of other things, taxes and insurance, you're in the low $4,000 a month range. So as a rule of thumb, you can go say just over $800 per $100,000, right? So if you can imagine a $400,000 house, it's going to be just over over $3,000 a month right now. And that's not even, if it's 9%, 8.5%, 9%, now we're getting close to, goodness, 3,500 now instead of 3,000, 32. We're getting up there in price or in monthly costs. And this is becoming the norm for at least the past few months. So the thing you can think through is, okay, well, if that's the case, there will be many fewer people that can buy these houses. The answer to that is yes. Well, if you had a house 2 years ago that had net 9%, I might be paying points to 0.2. Yeah, you're right. And then points is another factor into this too. Check with your loan officer. Just a general concept. Check your loan officer. I am not a financial advisor. I'm also not a loan officer. I'm doing my best, but I'm going off of things that, as accurate data as we have to work with, right? But definitely check with the loan officer. And if you have any, I can give you a recommendation if you need that. But again, it's totally up to you about all that kind of stuff. But point is that we're getting high, but this is the norm now for the last few months. Let's just say 2 years ago, there's a house that had 10 offers on it throughout 2021. And let's just say the prices went up and rates went up. So the price to buy that same house went up. The year after that, maybe instead of it being 10 offers, there were 5, 6, 4. Well, that was last year. Well, now that rates have even gone up even more and prices have gone up more, now we're talking maybe double almost of the payment of a house from 2 or 3 years ago. That actual payment is almost double what it was then. Like, okay, well, who can afford this? Well, the reality is, let's stop this part. The reality is some people can. And some of those, like you hear the 10 offers, 20 offers, there were 25 offers on a house in 2021. Well, yes, that's true. But just because you're making an offer on a house does not mean you're in the contending group of offers, if that makes sense. So that number can be a bit skewed because not all those people can really afford the offer that they're making, or at least it's the tippy top, right? So as soon as the price goes up on the house and the rates go up, that affordability goes down. The people that are making offers, some of those can't now afford it anymore. So you keep dropping down as far as the amount of people that can do it. But there are some people that still can, whether it be people that move here and they have cash. They've got equity because here or anywhere now, you can sell a house and get some equity because if you have had your house for at least maybe 3 years, you've got a decent amount of equity you can put down on something else. So you've got some stuff to work with, right? So I guess all to say that the amount of people that can afford a house now is much less than before, but there are still people that can afford these houses. And those people, that group, there's some that want to move, they want to move, and some have to move. Well, the ones that can afford that want to move, not all of those are going to be buying. And especially in the fall, not everybody wants to buy in the fall. It's a very inconvenient time to buy in the fall here, just from the standpoint of in the middle of school. Oh, Barbara, hey, jet noise isn't too bad, but it's pretty obtrusive every once in a while. My son's house in Lansdowne is much louder. Okay, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Lansdowne does get up there. You're right on the edge there. So that's why I was curious to hear your take. Liz, hey, thanks, Liz. Good to see you. Liz and Craig, you guys are awesome. Really good to see you guys on here too. So back to what I was saying before, the affordability has gone down. There are some people that can still afford these houses, right? So it's just not as convenient now to buy in the fall, which is one of the reasons why I always tell people, if you can buy in the fall, it is advantageous to do that because you are not competing with as many people. And that's with any market. I mean, I'm saying 2014, 2006, 2023, that's just a cyclical thing. And you can, even looking at the charts, you can see, and I'll show you I'll show you here. Where's my charts here? Okay. This is the median sales price for, this is all over the place. That's very misleading. I wouldn't use that number. Let's just use Virginia Beach as an example. But this includes Chesapeake, Norfolk, Suffolk, Portsmouth. Median sales price in Virginia Beach right now, this is the end of September, $417,250, right? Okay, that's gone down from the top of $440. So I was guessing, I think it was about 3 or 4 months ago, my guess was going to be around this 415 number. It was going to stop out at 410. No. I think, around about 400, I think. But I think it's going to go down lower than that. And you can go back and look at my live videos and you can see what I actually said and you can fact check me on that. But I think this is going to go down even farther. But this number is deceiving. And the reason it's deceiving is because median sales price only tells you median sales price for all the houses that are selling at the time that the stat is gathered, right? Well, not as many houses like 4 or 5 bedrooms sell in October, in November, December. So this number is a bit skewed to me because you're going to find that a lot of houses that are selling in this time period are not going to be houses that are family dependent or that have a lot of larger families in it, or families or houses with larger size, because again, not an advantageous time to move. That's when you find houses in February, March, April, May, into June. That's when more of those types of houses sell, and those are usually higher priced houses. So it's a bit of a skewed thing. But my point here is to say, and I'm actually going to show you a different chart, is that the median days on market and monthly supply. Okay, I'm going to go to monthly supply in a second, but median days on market. See, the median days on market is going up, and it does this. Well, here we go. Where are we at? There we go. This is Virginia Beach. Yeah. So this is going to go up. Where are we at? 7, 8, 9, the 9th month of the year. It goes up usually as you get into the year. It keeps going increasing, and then it drops again into April, May, June, and then it goes back up again every year cyclically. So you can see the same thing: 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Up here, I can bet you. Yep. See the December, November, December. The tops of these peaks are all in the wintertime. So meaning that the houses usually stay on the market a little bit longer in this time period because there are fewer people that want to buy in this time range, this season. That's, as a buyer, you can take advantage of this. Well, the question is, well, Sam, if the rates are high relative and prices are high, what do you do? Okay, well, I'm even thinking about this myself because can you see me? I think you can see me. All right, now you can see me. Oh, okay. I don't know if you can see. Yeah. Comment. Oh, hey, yes, Barbara. Is there a larger investor presence you're seeing in the last year or so? Actually, people that want to get involved, but not really in general, that are actually jumping in. Not seeing too much. We can get into that in a minute if you want to, for sure. But I'm looking at this for myself, thinking, okay, is it time to buy an investment property? Actually, Barbara, to your point, is this time to buy an investment property? And it's kind of weird to think, okay, hey, if prices have gone up, our prices are going to start dropping because people can afford. I think what happens is people get this, not whiplash. What's the word? You think about 2008, and you think, okay, I don't want that to happen again. I don't want to get caught with a house that becomes less valuable. There's a chance that house prices can sag. The problem that I'm seeing, and this is I'll show you the median sales price concept here, is that look at this chart here, days on market 15. That's high in relation to other years, but before 2020, look at the typical days on market in the fall: 26, 35, 30, 40, 45. I mean, and this was not even a really nuts, a slow market. It was just kind of average. 15 days in September. Now in October, it's going to go higher than that, but it's not going to be, things have slowed down, but people are used to such a fast market. This is not too terribly slow, if that makes sense. It just feels a lot slower also because of the shift. Now, let me go over to other stat that, if you can bear with me, I can get my program right. Month supply of inventory. Okay, this is the number, 1.6. Okay, and this is the definition. Month supply, I can zoom in here. Can you see this? Month supply of inventory is the number of months it would take to sell through the available inventory at the current sales rate. So if you have houses in the market, how fast will those all sell? And generally speaking, in the previous markets, look what the like 2020 or 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, that median sell, or that average supply, or average a month supply of inventory, that's like 4, 5, 6 months. We're talking still less than double, more than double, almost triple, even quadruple in some spots considering the last several years, or 4 times as less. Is that right? A quarter of the amount of a month supply of inventory as opposed to those past few months. That was a weird way for me to say that. You know what I'm talking about. There aren't many houses on the market, and we're in October. it's very easy to think in terms of the now. What does it feel like right now? How will the feeling I have right now last forever? Right, just like 2 years ago when there were 10 offers on a house. Will that ever stop? The answer was yes. Right now in October, will it pick up? Because I'm feeling like it's slowing down. The news, you know, national news is, I think, affecting people right now. I'm My educated guess, and this is what I am going to act on myself, is I do think rates are going to drop. I have no idea when. They could go up, but I think they're going to go down. And my guess is going to be it'll be next year. And I don't know when next year. Of all the presidential election cycles where there could be a rate increase, this would probably be the one, because there are other factors that have been so unique in the last 2-3 years that I could see the Fed maybe not dropping them. But if you notice in the last several years, when rates often dropped almost every presidential cycle for a while back. I mean, it's pretty common for that to happen. So that as election year, you'll see rates drop. I still think that they will in this case. And how much? Well, that's the question. Because if they drop to 7, I still don't think we're going to be seeing too many people that are going to be willing to sell their houses that they have at an interest rate of 3%. But the people that have to move, people that want to move, even with the rates the way they are going to be wanting to buy in the springtime. And again, there's always an increase every year because of how life works here. Talk to people like in Arizona, talk to people in, different California, different parts of the country have different seasons where it's more active or not. It's always more active in the springtime here. It's always less active in the fall, which is why I'm always a big fan of buying in the fall. So I think that there's a very good chance that as we go into the wintertime into the springtime, my guess is rates drop. I think if it goes to 7, I think there's going to be more of a demand with less supply, because there aren't going to be a lot of people that are going to want to sell their houses and then buy. I also think, though, that if it drops to 6, which seems so crazy now, 2% drop, that's a big drop. And I'd be surprised if it did that much. But if it could, I guess my general theory is the closer we get to 6 in that range, I think there are going to be becoming more people that are going to be more willing to make that jump, quote unquote, between their 3%, their 4% rate to their 6% rate. And that will potentially lead to more houses on the market, which means more supply. That actually could level the market out a little bit. It's tough because even when you drop the rates even farther, that could lead to even more demand anyway. All I have to say is the issue we have here is the amount of houses available. And it feels like there are more on the market than there actually are, because it's just slower than it usually is. But even in the last 3 years, it was relatively slow, comparatively speaking, in this time period back in the nuttiness of the last few years. So I think there's going to be some perceptions that might be affected as we get into the springtime next year, where, a house that's 500,000, is that $500,000 house going to become, people say, oh, I can get a good deal and offer 480. Not seeing that happen. I'm thinking that 500 house could still become 510, 515, 520. We're going to need to see a lot more houses on the market. And another thing too is the people that are buying the houses or have bought the houses, these people are pretty well qualified. So the thought of, okay, well, there's going to be foreclosures in the market, the people are going to be losing, their houses, markets, this, market, that. Well, that could happen, but if there's some sort of financial correction, okay, that's weird. Oh, I did a reset. Excuse me, guys. It's going to be misleading because that's a weird number. My thinking here is that so going back to like 2008, when there were a lot of foreclosures on the market, or 9, 10, 11, 12, the reason why the market dropped was because of houses that were foreclosed on, or a big reason why. And it was because of the loans themselves, right? Well, the market dropped partly because the banks that were doing the foreclosing all the foreclosing was happening, as fast as they could do it or as fast as they wanted to do it. Sometimes it took a long time, but they did it. They were the controlling entities in this process. And then they sold the houses cheaper. Well, let's just even say that people need to sell. If they're not in a good position, they have to sell their house. They're not going to likely foreclose as fast. They can probably be able to sell their house and make some money on it because they have equity in this house as opposed to letting it foreclose. It's a better chance of them being able to sell it now, even if they dropped it for a little bit. So my point here is to say that when you have people that are in the control of their own houses, even if they have to sell their house, they have to, there's a good chance they'll be able to sell it for more than what a bank would have done to liquidate, if that makes sense. So even in a downturn market, if that was going to happen, I see the downturn being a lot less of a drastic drop because of the people that would probably be involved. Now, there could be foreclosures, there could all be all that stuff. But again, even with that, the foreclosures here were due to, a lot of it was due to not paying on their mortgages, and people were all kind of happening at the same time. Foreclosures in this case, if there were going to be any, could be for varying reasons. So meaning that the defaults, if there were some, could be all scattered across as to when they might happen, which means that the supply of the inventory of the houses might not be like a bunch of new supply at the same time. This could be scattered. So all of my point here is to say that I don't see a big drop coming, even if the market doesn't pick up in springtime like I think it's going to happen. So if you're going to be buying and you're going to be staying in the area for a long time, and I say long time, I'd say probably 5 years or more, I'm still a fan of buying. If you're going to be buying, even 3 years is kind of, to me, the cutoff point. I think sometimes 2 years before, but now if you're coming and you want to move, and you're choosing to move, I would move. If you're choosing to move, I would move if you're confident in where you want to live. However, like the general area. But if you're not sure about buying yet, you're like, hey, I don't know if I like this area or not. If you're like, hey, I can move, I probably wouldn't make the move that quite yet, if that makes sense. I'd probably rent, or at least I would say I'd make the move, but rent and see kind of how you like it and all that kind of stuff. Because if it's a short-term move, the prices might go up, and you might find yourself stuck and wishing you had bought. But I could also see a scenario where it's kind of up in the air a little bit. You might be breaking even at 3 years or 2 years purchasing time. And if that's the case, I would say it might not be as good of an idea to buy now. I just would suggest renting instead of buying if it's a shorter term thing. If you're more conservative, if you're like, hey, I've always had good experiences buying, I like the idea of buying. Okay, makes sense. And I would probably tone down my thought about, curtailing the length of time I would suggest to commit to the area before buying. But if you're going to be moving here and you're going to be here for 5 years plus, I would still suggest buying. But again, if you're short term, 1 year, 2 years, I wouldn't play the market. I would try and rent. I maybe do short term, 3 to 6 months, and then kind of watch what's going on. There's no perfect answer to that. If that makes sense, there's no perfect answer, because the perfect answer is, wait this amount of months and you can still get the house cheaper and you get more appreciation. Everything's perfect. It doesn't work that way, because let's just say I say, hey, it's October, wait 6 months and buy. Well, where does that put us? It puts us in April. That's the peak of the year. So like you say, Sam, why are you telling me to buy in the middle of April? Well, I get it. It's not the ideal time. Ideal time to buy is between now and like January, in my opinion. But not everybody can or wants to do that. And not everybody has the capabilities to make those timing decisions. So that's why I'm always a big believer of, whenever you want to move, do it when it makes sense for you, not when it is primarily making the most sense interest rate wise and all that stuff. I mean, again, it has to be worth it financially. But my point is, like, just make sure it's for you and not for other factors that don't involve you, because I don't want you to regret the move, is what I'm saying. Now, if you have to move, I would say do it now. Buy now. If you have to move and it's going to be more than 3 years, 3 or plus years, I would say do it now. I say now. I'm saying now, between now and January, maybe even February. I'd just be more aware of, again, the springtime, being prepared for that. Just more multiple offers, more of that competition, that kind of thing. It's very doable. I mean, again, I've worked with so many people that buy in the springtime. It's all doable. There's ways to do it. It's fine. But it'd be much cheaper, in my opinion, to do it now than then. So that's where it comes down to. It's like, how much do you want to move as opposed to how much do you have to move? And can you do it now in the fall, winter months? And I'm really I'm not a got to do it now kind of person. And if you've watched me for any length of time, you're going to be getting my personal, honest take on things. And, I'm kind of telling like I would tell myself, and I'm telling myself now, cause I'm thinking, hey, do I think it's a good idea to buy another house right now? Like, not to move our personal house, but investment properties. Is it a good idea? We're actively looking. If that's to answer your question, still actively looking. Yes, the answer is yes. And rates are higher. Yes. We refinance if they are lower. If they are not, if they don't become high, they don't drop. That's also going to be okay. And because it's just going to take a lot of supply to make up the demand amounts. Now, flip a page. Let's flip page back. 2008, when the house prices dropped because of those foreclosures, the biggest drops were due in location-based places, like the places that were in least demand. Okay. So if you're going to be buy in places that are either looking for like optimistic for growth or places that already have like more established spots that are in demand. Not the places that, you need a whole area to be revitalized and expect it to happen in 2 years. Those are the places where it's like, hey, that's some risk I'm not really willing to jump into personally. So just be careful about location and situation more so than just buying. You know what I'm saying? That's where I think you'll find that it's, I think, wise to be specific, because when the house prices dropped in that '08 market scenario, the most demand spots did not drop that much. They dropped, but you're not getting super deals everywhere. You can't take, oh, I got a 10% discount over here, I can get it over here. Nope, not like that. You might not get anything over somewhere else. Great neck, little neck. Making that up, but you know what I mean? So that's the kind of thing. So that's where I'm at market wise. And I wanted to show you something else. Did I show you all my things? Maybe I did. Did I show you all my things? Guys, did I show you all my things? Yeah, I did. So I'll take any questions if you have any questions. I am really excited about, I think like, so, oh, let me tell you one other thing. The state of the market, what I'm seeing too is this is what I was going to tell you. Okay. So let me show you days on market. You can't see me do this, but I'm going to share my screen and bear with me, guys. There we go. Okay. So, oops, there. Can you see any of this? You can't see it. Hold on. Share screen. There. Okay. You're seeing me click around on my little thing. Okay. So I'm going to show you days on market, median days on market for, this is all the price ranges, right? This is in Virginia Beach. Okay. So this is 15 days on market right now. Okay. It's pretty high. I mean, pretty low, but high in relation to where we were. Okay. Let me show you something. I'll show you a filter, and you'll see in the filter it says price range anywhere from $0 to $1 million. Okay, we're gonna go to 400 to 600. Change the toggle. Change the toggle here. Okay. Days on market, 14 days in the market, right? You seeing that? You see all that? Okay. So I'm looking at hey, Aaron. How you doing, Aaron? Where are you personally looking for an investment property? What areas excite you? I will answer that. Bear with me. Let me finish my thought here, and I will answer that for you also, Aaron, because that's something interesting for me too. So, days on market, 14 days. Okay. 400 to 600,000. Okay. Let's move that up to 700,000, 700,000 and 600. Okay. 17 days. Okay. It's going up a little bit, understandably so, but still in that range. Okay. 750, 21 days. Now let's go 750 to a million. Let's do 760. 23 days. Actually, let me do, let's do this. 750. Nope. 24. There we go. Yeah. 24 days. So 750 to million, 24 days, and 500. And you're watching me do this in real time. Excuse me. 5 to 750, 15 days. Now that's still some, as you get into the sevens, it goes up a bit. But my point here is to say that as you get over 7 into the 750 range, there's something interesting that happens. And what happens is that there is something called the conforming loan limits. That is the number that is deemed, once you go over that price, it's considered what's called a jumbo loan, which means that there aren't as many investors that are willing to fund that type of loan. It's a larger amount for the area in which that number is decided. So, for example, if you bought a house in Alabama, it was probably one of the lower median sales price states in the country. The conforming loan limit might be 400 something or 500 something or whatever. I don't even know, but it might be less than what we have now here. But here or somewhere else, maybe let's just say it could be New York City, maybe, or New York. I'm sorry, maybe that's 850 or whatever. But here it's 726, I think, and change. Okay. What does that mean for people that are buying it under 726? It means you're getting the best interest rates. When you're hearing general interest rate pricing, that's what those pricing numbers are representing most of the time. Once you go over 726, that's what's considered a non-conforming loan or a jumbo loan. Jumbo loans, because there are less people that are willing to lend for that amount of money, over that amount of money, means it's going to be a more expensive interest rate. So more expensive interest rate for that price range. So not only is the sales price or the amount of the loan higher, but it's also a more expensive loan per month. So once you get over 750, days on market changes quite a bit. Well, so why I say 750, Sam, it's actually 726. Well, this is a round number, but in general, 5% down on a 750 house puts us right at about 717. So let's just say it's 760. 760 if you go over 760 and a 5% down loan, you're going to be a non-conforming loan. So as you go over 8, really, the amount of people that can afford those types of houses goes down a lot more. So if you're buying and you're buying or can you see me? There you go. If you're buying in the, 7s, 6s, 5s, resale viability is a lot higher than once you get over 8. Michael West. Hey, Michael, how are you? Are you truly seeing jumbo loan buyers in that 750 group or cash buyers, investors? And I have not forgotten about you, Barbara or Aaron. But yeah, Michael, to answer your question, that is the base, like bare minimum. Not as many as you would see, more like over 8. Because some of this comes down to how much you have to work with. Some people in the 8s will have more to work with. They might put 20% down. They might put 10% down. But believe it or not, there are more people that only put 5% down, and it's still a thing. So that's why I would say, yes, in the 7s, it still matters. But in addition to that, as you go higher, it matters even more. So, but all that to say that you're going to start seeing fewer buyers over 750 to 800. I don't see as many investors. To answer your question, Barbara, larger investor presence, not as many. People that pay cash will be more people that are selling their house and buying, as opposed to just pure rental. You hear a lot of talk about the big 3 financial entities like BlackRock, State Street. What's the other one? 3 of them, Vanguard, etc. You don't see too many corporate purchases in a lot of these price ranges. They exist, but it's more so in the lower price ranges. And again, you also see a lot of more flippers in the lower price ranges. Could they exist? Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, but this is not one of those big it's not a top 10, top 15 market to where you'll start seeing more like a lot of those people those entities are buying in the Southeast, the South. They're not really doing as much where we are from my experience, but that's just my own take on that. But so if you're over 800, just keep in mind location is still a big part of what I would suggest is purchasing decision. It's not a matter of no one's going to buy in your price range. It's a matter of where you buy is very important, because people are still going to be moving here in that price range. It's just you just find fewer people, and just the school district matters, the size of the house matters, the configuration of the house matters. You can really get desirable houses in 2 million, 1.52 in any city for the most part, really. But the uniqueness of the house is going to set it apart and make it more of a desirable thing that will kind of drop that median sales price or median days on market number down for you specifically, because unique houses still kind of, they affect the market a lot, or they kind of transcend the numbers you might see on stats like I have. So now, Aaron, where am I looking personally? So the general rule to me is anywhere, but I like Norfolk a lot. I like being close to military bases if possible. It's not a mandatory thing, but I like having as many exit strategies for a good client to live there. Whether it be Norfolk, close to bases, close to schools; Virginia Beach, close to schools, close to bases; Chesapeake, close to bases, close to schools, school districts, even as you go into like West Chesapeake and even Suffolk, and those parts are still fine. It depends on the price, depends on a lot of those things. But as you get into places further out, like I say, over an hour from Virginia Beach, that's where it starts getting, to me, less enticing. But I like multifamilies, 2, 3, 4 units a lot. But yeah, I mean, you know how it is. If you're an investor, you're looking at, there's so many variables there. But I do like the Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake general area, and Norfolk's probably I lean there just because there are also more houses that kind of fit the kind of criteria that works. More multifamilies, a lot of houses near bases, and even smaller houses that work well, that kind of thing. So that's to answer your question. Any other questions that you have? I'm happy to answer anything that you got. But as far as moving here, and again, I've gotten kind of technical on this live, but as far as moving here, generally speaking, there are a lot of things I can go over with you about planning, when to come, when not to come, how to strategize for like just even making a visit. I would suggest coming here at least once if you can before moving. It's not mandatory, and I can give you a list of examples of different houses and neighborhoods that I think you might like, that you want to drive through and see neighborhoods. I can give you kind of a route and talk you through some spots that might work really well. And any feedback you have with me with that would be helpful. But anytime you have questions about wanting to move to this area, let me know. And foreign investors, honestly, don't really know. Don't know the answer to that, Barbara. Sometimes when you see an investor like LLCs and things like that, you don't really see who owns them. So that's to be honest, I don't really know. But if you have questions about relocating here, if you have specific types of houses that you like, feel free to just send me. You can send me an email, send me a text, call, whatever, anything that works. You can comment even below on this video, and I can just say, hey, I'm looking for this type of house. Where can I find a lot of these types of houses, or single family or whatever, or ranch or whatever. Just give me some criteria that makes sense. I can kind of give you some examples of places that might make sense in your price range. I do that a lot. I've gotten some good feedback about how I do it. So do some narrating and stuff for you as well. But if you have any questions about that, need help with that, I just would say that don't rush it. I've talked to people that just kind of jump in and want to move. Oh my gosh, I want to move to Virginia Beach. I want to move to Suffolk or Williamsburg. And they get here and some people love it, but not everybody does. And so I always, especially the lower in the price range you're thinking, like if it's 300, 350, 275 in that price range, especially too, definitely take a trip first. Make sure you like what you see before you make a big life change. As you get higher in price, there are more options for different styles and, or at least different types of areas. And I think you'll find more options to choose from that might work, which you like as well too. But so I guess I'll just say that if you have any questions about that, just let me know. Um, and I can walk you through that process. And I do think that 3 to 4 months to plan this whole thing out is ideal. You can do it faster. If you're getting stationed here and you only have a month or two, it's still doable. But I also say that, the longer you can plan it out, the better. But, not everybody has that. And I understand that. So we can adjust as far as the speed goes and when to do things and what I can tell you to kind of help make that process more efficient, depending on how much time you have. So, if you have any more questions, let me know here. Or again, if you're watching the replay of this, again, comment below or just send me an email. I've got my contact. I'll have it in the description or anywhere on my website. You can just Google me too. You'll see information, contact info as well. But anything I can do to help you, I love helping people move here. I love this area so much. You can probably tell. I really enjoy it. I know it very well. So it's more of what I do than I would I would say is healthy. I just think about roads and the cities and all that stuff all the time, and houses and whatnot. So, ask me anything you got, and I would love to help you relocate here. Again, it's what I do. And I would just say that I'm very passionate about this. So, yeah. And again, do this every Wednesday, if mostly not live. I'll do a pre-recorded video, but I do it about a specific topic. If you have any comments about topics that you want to, let me know about that. Love to help people out. And yeah, so we'll wrap things up here. And oh, hey, Joey, hang on just a second. Sam, you should consider marketing Hampton Roads as a retirement option for us in New York, New Jersey, who look at Florida and the Carolinas. Great comment. And I actually have helped a lot of people do that, believe it or not. New York specifically, New York and New Jersey. You used to mention New Jersey. And also in the Northwest, interestingly enough, and also California. So yeah, I help a lot of people relocate to retire. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I might kind of do some specific things, some fun stuff about how to process about retiring here and what, spots here to consider. But yeah, glad you mentioned that, Joey. Thanks for that. And yeah, great feedback. And yeah, look forward to seeing you on the next live one, but also feel free to look forward to seeing you from afar through the video I record next Wednesday as well. I hope you can watch every week, and anything that you have questions about, let me know, and I will see you gladly on the next video.